Hello there, welcome to my channel, and I'm super delighted to have you here. In case you're coming across a video like this for the first time, my name is Adejare and I'm your anchor here on Property Matters. Property Matter is a real estate YouTube talk show where we explain important issues that is regarding real estate investment here in the beautiful city of Lagos, Nigeria. After watching this particular educative guide, do well to subscribe to this channel. Turn on the notification bell so that when I drop a video, a very important personality like you will obviously be the first person to see it. Property Matter is a real estate YouTube talk show where we have talked extensively on how you can identify a fraudulent real estate developer. We've also talked extensively on how you can also unravel a fraudulent real estate transaction. Everything we have discussed so far on this YouTube channel is aimed towards achieving one thing, and that thing is to ensure that you don't get duped in any form of real estate investment you are doing here in the beautiful city of Lagos. Once again, welcome, and I'll see you after this short time out. Don't go nowhere. So on today's episode, I'm going to be talking extensively on why properties are so expensive in Lagos. So on today's episode, I'm going to give you a statistical overview. I'm going to give you the current prices of land documentation, building materials, and I'm also going to talk extensively on why the prices will keep skyrocketing. Like I said, I'm here with my details, I'm here with my statistics, and let me also say that as at the time I'm making video, there are tendencies, by the time you will be seeing it, that the cost of building materials might even have doubled as at the time you're watching this video. So recently I decided that I wanted to upgrade my knowledge. I wanted to have more field experience. I wanted to be involved, on some of the purchases of some building materials that are made by some of our clients who have bought land for a long period of time and they wanted to buy what they wanted to build. Now, in the cost of trying to pay attention to the cost of building material, I was to sandfill a plot of one of our investors, and when I spoke with the development company, the estimate I was given was very, very outrageous, and I decided that okay, fine, I'm going to handle this process of sandfilling myself, and I'm going to see. When we did our major calculations, we found out that things have changed. They gone are those days whereby you can sandfill a land or some plot of land for 2 million, 2.5. After connecting all the necessary dots, putting all the necessary calculations, we found out that presently sandfill a 300 square meter right now is over 4 million naira, and this 4 million naira is still dependent on the depth of the water. By the time the surveyor was able to, of course the engineer was able to measure the depth of the water, we found out that the normal sand filling now for 1 feet some centimeter high is about 4 million. So these are some of the reasons why people will not be able to afford properties in Lagos. What are those things that make property very expensive? Number one, the cost of purchase. When I talk about purchase, I'm talking about the purchase of the land. Many of us are aware of the present value of properties in Lagos. If you are buying properties on the mainland, on the island, and some places, the cost of those properties are not the same. The second reason why properties are very expensive in Lagos is also the cost of documentation. Now, the kind of documentation that you will do is dependent on the root title that is on that property. Let's say, for instance, you bought a property that has a C of O document. Now, and you want to perfect the title, you will need to do what we call a governor's consent on that property. Now, when we talk about cost of documentation, we are looking at the cost of the land, we are looking at the cost of building approval, we are looking at the cost of running all the necessary expenses on the property. That is not all. We also need to understand that the costs will now vary if the property happens to be a waterlogged land. Recently, we were able to do a rough estimate of a 300 square meter sand filling for something a little bit of 4,250,000. Imagine what it will cost to sand fill a 600 or a 500 square meters of land. Remember, I said that these expenses is still dependent on the depth of the water. That is one major reason why properties are very expensive in Lagos. The second reason why properties are very expensive in Lagos basically is the cost of building material. Remember, I said on today's episode that I'm going to be giving you the facts, the figures, and obviously these informations can be verified by you. Now let's start with building materials. Iron rod. Now we have different kind of iron rods. We have the 8 mm iron rod, we have the 10 mm iron rod, we have the 12 mm iron rod, and we also have the 20 and 25. Now an iron rod is needed at some level when you are doing your pile foundation, and there are some instances whereby if your building gets to the decking stage, a iron rod is also needed. Now, like I said, these figures I'm going to be giving is still dependent on the time you'll be watching this video, and it's also dependent on the time that you may also want to buy this material. So what I'm trying to say is that these prices might have gone down or perhaps appreciated further. Now, to buy 1 ton of iron rod presently right now in the market is 1,100,000. If you're buying 10 mm, 1 million. If you're buying 12 mm, 1 million. If you're buying 16 mm, 1 million. If you're buying 20 mm, is 1,030,000. And if you're buying 25 mm, is also 1,030,000. Remember that there were times and period where these iron rods were sold for 500,000 and 700,000. So these are some of the reasons why buildings and real estate is very, very expensive in Lagos. Now let's look at a situation where you want to construct a foundation. Now, talking about the foundation of the building, what determines the kind of foundation that will be constructed on your plot of land is what we call the soil test report. Now, the soil test report enables you to understand the present soil texture and the kind of foundation that is suitable. If you are seeing instances where buildings are sinking, well, buildings are not properly constructed, it's due to the fact that the builder may not have conducted a thorough soil test, or perhaps the builder might ignore the report of the soil test, most especially when that builder is trying to cut costs. Now let's look at the cost of foundation presently. Remember, I said that the statistics I'm releasing right now may have increased by the time you have seen this video, so it is not static. Presently, if you want to do a 4-bedroom duplex right now, if you are doing a raft, it's about 15 million now. If you are doing a 3-bedroom with a pad, it's about 10 million. If you are doing a 3-bedroom bungalow with strip foundation, is around 4 million. And if you are doing a 3-bedroom apartment with a pile foundation, it's between 20 to 25 million. Remember, this is determined by the soil tests that it's showing the kind of foundation that must be conducted. Now let's leave aside the area of building materials and let's look at every other thing. Now I'm also going to be doing a detailed video where I'm going to be talking about the cost of tiling, the cost of fittings, the cost of electrification. Now when you look at all these things, you will understand basically that with the increasing level of inflation, most times this is not a deliberate attempt by real estate developer to siphon you or to make you buy properties at an unexpected rate. Sometimes these things are situations that is beyond their control. In one of my videos, I talked about why the middle class may not be able to afford real estate in Lagos, Nigeria 5 years from today. these are some of the circumstances that have, drastically affected the value and the prices of building in Lagos, Nigeria. Now, these and many more are the reasons why properties are very expensive in Lagos. And if the situation is not adequately addressed, it will get to a point whereby people will not be able to get their dream home. What many people will be forced, to opt for what is available. So if you are watching this video for the first time and you're asking, should I invest? Now, all you need to do basically is to look for an investment that fits your budget. All you need to do basically is to look for an investment that enables you to pay comfortably. However, it is very important, I stress this important, that it is not advisable, okay, more importantly, if you are doing an off-plan project, to subscribe for a 2-year payment plan or or any payment plan that exceeds 1 month. In fact, the minimum you should go for is 14 to 15 months. Now, the reason why I'm saying this basically is that the current statistics and prices that I've given for, the present construction of building in Lagos is not static. And the reason why the property prices, or the reason why several off-plan projects are failed, basically is due to the fact that some developers have collected money at the rates at which some building materials have been sold, and many people did not anticipate that things were definitely going to get to this level. While some of them have been able, okay, to refund some of their real estate investors, simply because it becomes practically impossible to build based on the present cost they charged as at the time the project started. Now, one of the reasons why I don't encourage a long-term payment plan basically is that the Nigerian economy is experiencing inflation at a speedy rate, and that is why some real estate investors have deemed it fit, okay, to secure loans that can help them start and finish their project. And some of the loans that is being collected by some of these developers are what we call the real estate trust fund. Now, let me also quickly stress this fact that not all real estate developers in Lagos, Nigeria, that have access to this loan. Now, in some cases, when these developers have collected this loan, they will buy all the needed materials that will enable them build from the foundation down to either the decking or the roofing stage. And that is how some real estate developers have been able to manage and, comfortably cope with the inflation. Now, some people that does not understand this are some of the real estate developers that are stuck. Now, in some cases, it becomes practically impossible for them to approach you and say, what you have paid for cannot complete that project. Can you add more money? Now, in the process of trying to drag it, the cost of building material might have risen even above the money they are demanding for. So these are some of the reasons why properties are becoming extremely expensive in Lagos. And if you don't take advantage of the market now, it may become very expensive that even the middle class will struggle to own property in Lagos. So this is where I'm going to draw the curtain of today's episode. I hope I've been able to share enlightening information. Like I said, I'm also going to do a due diligence on the cost of electrification, the cost of furnitures, the cost of plumbing fittings. I'm also going to do the cost of interlockings, and of course, I will give you a present figure on what this thing has been sold, so you can have an idea of what you will spend if you are building your dream house. One thing we've done several times is to ensure that you are well informed, well equipped, so that you'll not be making costly real estate investment decisions. Until I come your way again in another episode, take care of yourself. Bye for now.